You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, today's podcast episode, super excited about having another guest on for you guys, continuing the momentum as we go into 2025, talking about latest and greatest, new skills, new services that we can offer. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Joined from all the way in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina, we got Mr. Chris. Is it Foyles? Is that how you say your last name, Chris?
Yeah, Chris Foyles.
Yep.
That's right.
There you go. And you're joining us all the way from Raleigh. And how's the weather going down there, by the way, brother?
It's starting to get a little cool, but it's not like it is your way. We don't get snow. They are calling for snow this Friday, so we'll see.
I was wondering that. What are they forecasting down there? It's crazy. Seeing you guys get snow down south.
Yeah, like an inch or less. We usually get a lot of ice. So
ice? Okay.
Snow is usually not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Ice is even sometimes more challenging to work with than the snow, you know. And
right.
But yeah, I was just talking to a couple buddies on our link live the other night, and Jeremiah Jennings, a lot of you guys know Jeremiah. He's getting 1 to 3 inches in Alabama. A lot of guys, Kentucky, Tennessee, of course, Ohio is getting blasted this last 10 days. So if you guys are out there plowing snow and making that dough, I guess be safe out there for sure. Today's podcast episode, little pivot though, we're going to be talking about lawn care, landscaping, and really more like lawn renovation, I guess, is kind of what I'd categorize this. Chris has got a really fun background and making some huge headway with lawn renovation. I guess I'd quantify it or categorize it. So before we jump into it, give me your background for like a minute or two, Chris, if you want. I know you said you had a background in banking before this. You're doing a lot with top dressing. So give me the 2 minute, what's your background been like the last 24, 36 months?
Yeah, so I came from a banking background. I've done a lot with nonprofit banking, mortgages, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a new adventure for me. However, I've always been kind of a lawn freak type of thing. Enjoy to see just a manicured lawn. I started out doing this on my lawn, just top dressing, didn't have a clue what I was doing, and just saw a major difference. Neighbors kept bragging about it. So I was like, there's something to this. Mm-hmm. So I did all the research, and that's kind of how I started off.
That's awesome. And then you've been doing this for so you've been a lawn nut, crazy, like the rest of us for a while. How long have you been running the business right now?
So this is my second season.
Second season.
Yeah. We doubled in business this past season. That's probably been the most difficult part, is trying to get the logistics down and trying to get back in touch with everybody, just being small and really kind of new to the whole nuance of it. That's
awesome. And again, when sometimes some of you guys are listening in and want to get on the show, and we vet a little bit back and forth, talk, see if you got a good story to tell, and maybe something different than the last guy, if you will. And Chris was talking about how his business is growing and doubling, and revenue is starting to really kick in. And I said, dude, there's no revenue number where I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, you've arrived, you're anointed, you can get on the show. I don't care if you're doing 50 grand or 50 grand a week. It doesn't make really that much of a difference to me. As long as we can all learn, maybe pick up a couple nuggets along the way, teach each other a couple new skill sets or thought process. Like, to me, that's what I'm most excited about. And your background right now with what you guys are doing with lawn renovations is super, super exciting. So give me like the 60 to 90 second. What is the niche that you're really finding a lot of opportunity in right now?
So we do top dressing, and really, our goal is just we call it soil treatment. We try to give the nutrients to the lawn here, and we're in the transitional zone in North Carolina.
Okay.
So we have it's mainly warm season grasses, your Bermudas and zoysias and so forth. But then we have some cool season as well. Mm-hmm. But the majority of our business is the warm season grasses. So we start around May. We'll go to about August, September. We hit it hard. But basically, we're just putting a thin layer of compost and sand over lawns. We have a lot of clients that do use the reel mowers here. Mm-hmm. And so They obviously need their lawn very level, so they don't get the scalp marks on there. And so our goal is just to put an even layer. We use only earth and turf spreaders.
Yeah.
We have a 415. It's one of the big ones that holds 1 yard at a time. We have a 2 100s, and we have a 410 coming this month. It's another ride on. So
that's awesome.
We're rolling, but the goal is really to get an even layer. We don't do grass cutting, any other lawn maintenance. We may do some mulch every now and then, but our goal is really to focus on giving a good aeration to the lawn, and then come back and good nutrients. It gives it that way. Our soil has a pH of around 6.5, 7, so it gives it the nutrients it really needs to spread. My heart is really to get the nutrients in the soil, because if you get the soil conditions right, things will grow and spread and flourish. So, I mean, obviously, it's going to turn the grass greener, but the goal is, the reason why we named it Today and Tomorrow Turf is we want to help your lawn today, but also we want to make a big difference for tomorrow. And giving it that nutrients really makes a big difference later.
That's awesome. That is like really, really good stuff. I'm actually like really motivated and pumped up with this conversation. I did a video with the guys from Earth and Turf at Equip Expo. Wasn't sponsored or anything like that. I just ran over to their booth, and I mean, by the way, you guys can get your tickets for Equip Expo with our code Brian. I think you can already get your tickets since they literally released them the day after last year. Just a quick little mention, but we went to the Equip Expo booth ourselves, and I was really enjoying getting to hang out with those guys. I think the guy's name, was it Jeb or something like that? I think
Jeb. That's right.
Do you know Jeb? Okay, so I'm on the right track.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a great dude. He gave me about 2-3 minutes of his time on video. I was like, hey, can I just shoot some video with you guys and just help you get a little bit of exposure maybe? Is it the 415, the big 1 yard or 1 ton you're saying? That's the big one? That's
right. The 1 yard. Yep.
Okay. That thing was awesome. Tell me about that for a quick second.
It's a beast. I really enjoy it. It seems to it works better with obviously larger yards. But last year we were able to use it on some smaller yards. Our average yard is about 5,000 square feet.
Okay.
We have some larger and some, we did up to 45,000 square feet last year. So that was very helpful to have that big machine. Our 415, it has an aerator on it, and a seed box. We don't use the seed box very often here in this area, but, it has the aerator all in one. So it's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. Well, I want to ask you a couple more questions here in a quick second. We're going to pivot for just a hard second or for a quick second and hear from today's show sponsors announcements. But I want to pick your brain on like, how'd you get into this niche specifically? How you're doing maybe just some broad level pricing, kind of conversation for other guys that might be looking to get into it. And then maybe number 3 is just like the process, that maybe you're pioneering a little bit with your business, because I think those are really the conversations and the questions that I have as I look at other ways to supplement our income, grow our business, add different services. Personally, do some renovation on my own lawn. We just finished up our home. Our lawn is looking, pretty rough. I got to get out there and clean out the whole front yard and want to do a lot of work. And I've seen all the videos. They always seem to go viral for the Earth and Turf guys with those spreaders. And I mean, rightfully so. It's beautiful work. It's mesmerizing, and the results speak for themselves. So we're going to break a little bit of this down after we hear from today's show sponsors and announcements. So guys, if you're listening in, super appreciate you, joining us on the show today. Don't forget to make sure you guys leave us a 5-star rating and review if you guys are really enjoying the show. Again, thank you so much for supporting the sponsors that support us. Let's do this really quick. We're going to kick it over to Mr. Producer, take a quick break here, and then we're going to come right on back.
Are you a landscaping or home service business owner working hard but not seeing the growth you deserve? Here's the truth. You don't have to do it alone. At Forward Coaching, they help business owners streamline operations, boost profits, and build the company you've always wanted, and they've done it themselves. Their team grew local routes to over $8 million a year, and they're on track for $10 million this year. The best part? They did it while gaining more time and freedom. With Forward Coaching's all-in-one membership, you'll get one-on-one coaching and join peer groups of like-minded business owners. Together, you'll solve problems, share insights, and drive growth. It's not just learning, it's action and accountability. Visit frwrdcoaching.com and book your free discovery call today. A link is in the description. And make sure to mention Brian when signing up.
All right, guys, we are going to hop right back on into it here. And before we kick it back over to Mr. Chris to talk to us a little bit more about his small business and what he's got going on with top dressing, just want to say thank you guys for joining in with us on the show. If you guys are enjoying the content, leave us some ratings and reviews. Let us know how we're doing. If you guys are new here, we do have a great YouTube channel as well. You guys can see a lot of great content. We're really trying to 5x and 10x the amount of content we're putting out this year on social. So we want to add as much value to you guys as possible and show you guys what we're doing out there to grow Brian's Lawn Maintenance. So make sure you guys hit follow and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And maybe one day we can have that quest to get the million subscriber play button as one of the last little notches on the belt to get for our personal goal. But all things being said, we're so grateful to have you guys here, and thanks for taking time out of your day to spend a little bit of time with us on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Chris, I want to go back to you for a quick second, and you know we'll try to be super tight on time here. But how did you decide to get into this niche with top dressing, soil conditioning or reconditioning? What made you really fall in love with that aspect of the business?
I think the biggest thing is I'm a little OCD.
That's fair.
To be honest with you. So I love just seeing a big difference, and the way that a treatment on the lawn makes such a big difference, it's pretty amazing to me. It's fascinating. And I've just dug as much as I could and learned as much as I could. Over these past two seasons, we've learned so much. You were mentioning pricing. Man, my pricing model, when I first got the machine, I was like, man, this is going to be great. Versus I was doing it with shovel and wheelbarrows to start with. And I was like, with this machine, just run the machine over. It'll be simple, easy. I'll be in and out. It'll be great. And then you'll see a big difference in the lawn. It was not that easy.
Okay.
I promise you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So loading the material in the machine was a challenge at the beginning.
Okay, so if I can just interrupt you, what are you doing for that? Because
Yeah.
I literally was thinking about getting 20, 30, 100 yards of topsoil delivered to my house over summer, and I'm like, well, I gotta top dress it, so shore the earth and turf. But I'm like, how are you getting it in there? Are you using a tractor, or like what? The mulch mate guys, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we started off using just a shovel, obviously.
Sure.
Then we went to a skid steer, mini skid steer.
Okay.
That still took a lot of time. Then we grew to a mulch mate. So we have a Ford dump truck with a mulch mate on the back. That's been great. And now we have this past season, we got a Smart Gate with Jonathan over at Smart Gate. On another dump truck.
Okay.
So I tell you that's been a game changer, really.
That's awesome.
Being able to get the material into the machine fast enough, without a lot of problems breaking down and so forth. Getting the material to the job site, and then spreading it. It makes a big difference. We have grown so much by just learning different techniques, and I'm so thankful for other people that's helped me. Let's see, there's a couple of, David up in South Carolina, Jonathan down in Florida. I could give a dozen shout outs for people that helped me. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
I always welcome, I tell Jeb over at Earth and Turf and Jonathan at SmartGate that if you guys have a client that, has questions, don't hesitate to give me a call anytime. Yeah. I want to help other people out because I'm thankful for you, Brian, how your podcast helps, landscapers and people like myself that is really growing. And I'm very thankful for the people that poured into me.
Man, that's awesome.
Through this process.
Absolutely. Well, it's wild too, like how you can learn so much of this, I always say, from social media for free, and see these reviews. Like I did that 2-3 minute video, with Jeb, but before that, I saw their social media, pop up on my feed. And I told Jeb, honestly, I said, hey, like, if I can get a demo of the machine, I'll shoot you a YouTube video for free, dude. Like, I just want to like share what you guys are putting out there. But I need a machine. And I said, hey, can I get a demo in Michigan? He said, well, we don't really market much to Michigan just yet. We don't really have any dealers. And I'm like, okay. I said, what about like a Chet's Rental or a United or a Sunbelt? He goes, nope, we're still navigating those conversations. I mean, that could have changed already. It's been, 3 months since Equip. But like, I'm trying to get my hands on a unit and literally fix my own freaking yard. And nobody has anything like these guys are offering with the Earth and Turf. So, little shout out for those guys, I guess, with Jeb. But all things being said, so you went to the machine next. So how are you doing the actual install work? Like, not to get super science or super technical. I know we could do this for a half hour, but what's the general like workflow? What are you doing to the lawn? And maybe that can even lead into pricing.
Yeah. So I'll kind of just go through our whole flow real quick. We start off, we go kind of evaluate the lawn, check out the elevations and things of that nature. We have one guy that does just the edging. We call it edging. So they basically take a wheelbarrow and do an even coat around the perimeter of the property or around the beds and so forth. And then we're starting to aerate. That's one of the first things we do is want to kind of aerate the lawn, because our goal is to get the soil down into the good soil down into the soil as much as possible.
Okay.
We have a lot of clay around here.
Mm-hmm.
So just bringing those cores up. And people ask all the time, will you pick up your cores? We don't pick up the cores.
No.
Because that's still soil, even though it may not have a lot of nutrients in it. So we mix it with the good soil.
And then just let me ask you real quick. The 415 that has the aerator attachment on it. Are you pre-aerating or are you using the aerator machine with it, or do you have like a 18-inch drum roller for the edges or something, like a little guy?
Yeah. So the big lawns will aerate and top dress at the same time.
Okay, gotcha.
Or we'll aerate it. It gives a little more power. Sometimes we'll aerate it first and then top dress it with the 415. But mainly our small lawns, we have a 24 Toro that we aerate with, and that's all. That way we can get through all the gates. So we usually don't have any problems except for hills. We are going to get a stinger next month.
Oh yeah, sure.
So actually we're going to do the smaller stinger just because we don't have. I want a 24-inch and they don't have that yet. So I'm waiting for that to come out in the next couple of years. But I do like the hydraulic drive on that.
Okay.
So when we aerate it, we usually aerate it in both. I'm sure a lot of other people do as well, but we over aerate as much as possible in both directions. That's just kind of our secret sauce, is to get the good soil down in there. So that's why we have to aerate it so much. So we're edging, we're aerating, and then we're coming back with the top dressing around the other areas. If there's an area that sometimes we'll have clients that have a dip in their lawn and so forth, if they let us know, we'll add a little bit extra in there, but we're limited to what we can put on the lawn because we don't want to smother it out. Even though Bermuda is very resilient, it's still when you're smothering it out, you're even prone for diseases and other issues. Time to kind of heal. So we put about a little over a quarter inch at a time down. So we're 36 of an inch. We do 1 yard per 1,000 square foot. And that's how we price our lawns. I measure out either online. We use yard books right now. So I measure it on and send a quote out based off the square footage, or we'll actually go out and hand measure the lawn based off the square footage.
So that's good to know. And I appreciate you sharing that. So, and I'm sure a lot of guys are taking notes or writing this down. I know I am right now. So if you have a 5,000 square foot lawn front and back, nice subdivision home, a little bit bigger, maybe normal size, I guess, some subdivision home, you're using 5 yards of compost. Is that a compost and sand mix? Is it straight compost? And then like, how do you, is it like an aeration charge as well? Or are you like, hey, it's $500 per 1,000 and that's seed, compost, and aeration? Like how do you come up with your pricing matrix, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I didn't talk much about the soil. So we've just learned so much over these past 2 seasons. We started out with purchasing soil at different locations. Actually, the last 2 years we've done that. We do either a 70-30. With our one season grasses, we do 70% sand, 30% compost.
Okay.
It still gives it the nutrients that it needs. Personally, I like the 50-50. So I like to do straight 50% compost, 50% sand. I never use topsoil, me personally, just because that's such a relative term when you say topsoil.
Yeah, right.
Compost really gives it the nutrients it needs. And then this Bermuda, the sand really helps with the leveling part on it.
Do you order it 50-50 or are you mixing this, by the way?
I do. So this year I'm excited for next season. We'll have our own land, our property, where we can mix it just like we want to. I did some mixing last year, but I was really restricted by the location of where we were, not having to dump trucks to haul it to different locations and so forth. Now that we have more of an infrastructure, we can handle that. It helps us a lot. So we can really mix it in our own yard now and be more consistent. That's another challenge. When we're going to different places, it's hard we have no control over the product.
Right.
We can ask for compost, but we don't know how well they've screened it. Whether it's, quarter inch. You have large sticks in there sometimes. I've seen debris, glass. And I just have no control over that. So I'm very excited about this new season. We're going to have more control over that. I have a supplier. They're going to screen our compost down to 1/8 of an inch. And then we use mortar sand to mix with that. So it should have a good, smooth product this year.
If somebody,
I don't know your other questions, sorry.
No, you're good. No, that's perfect. And seriously, thank you for getting technical for us. This is really helpful. If when you say mix your own sand and compost, let's say I order, like you said, 2.5 yards of sand. I'm doing a 50-50 mix. 2.5 yards of clean topsoil, or compost. The place where we dump all of our leaves, it's called Spurt. Fantastic people. The dirt that comes out of there, turning all of our leaves, it's the darkest, richest black dirt you've ever seen in your life. It is. It smells wild. Yeah. It smells wild. You know what I mean? Go figure. Over at that place, all the vegetation, composting, and the piles just, are steaming, for right through the fall and winter. So if I get 2.5 yards and 2.5 yards, how are you mixing it? Just taking a tractor with the dingo and just making a huge mess in the driveway? I guess I'm just trying to figure out logistically, if you don't mind me asking, how are you guys approaching that for somebody who doesn't have a yard?
So ordinarily we would, whatever location we would have it ordered, we'll mix it. They'll mix it for us at the location. Okay. Sure. If I had a little piece of property last year that I was able to mix some, and I had my buddy had a cat, so we would 906 cat, I think. Mm-hmm. So I would buy the sand and compost, and I would just mix it there on the yard when we'll take it to the property. Okay. I have ordered it. Depending on the property, if there's enough space on the road, I'll order it, the compost and sand, and then I'll mix it with like you said, a little mini skid steer, mm-hmm. And do that there. Okay. This year is going to be totally different where I can mix it myself. You asked, talking about the difference when they order sand or compost. So we usually either, like I said, mix it on the road, or we bring it already mixed. But our service really is all in one. So our fees are based off. When I first started off, it's so funny. When I first started off, it was $130, 1,000 square foot. I realized that I was really losing money with equipment and labor. Sure. Quickly. So I'll be pretty transparent. We're at $230 per 1,000 square foot right now, and that includes the aeration, bringing the soil out, top dressing, edging, and then after we after we aerate, top dress it, then we come back with a rake. So basically, I have a grate on the back of my Toro, and we break up all those cores. We mix it in with the good soil. Any elevations kind of levels that out afterwards. So that 230 covers everything.
So an average yard could be, 997 spring special, something like 5,000 square feet, five yards, quote unquote, of like mixed product with the sand and compost with the, now does that include seed, or is that not included? Is that a different conversation?
So we don't, so it is a little different conversation. That's for just cool season grasses. I encourage everybody I talk to, unless it's a unique situation, not to overseed on Bermuda or zoysia or centipede or warm season grasses. Just because of the rise zones, the factors, they'll spread if you give them the nutrients they need. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we're dealing with hybrid sod. So if you put a seed down, you're putting a foreign seed. Yeah, it may be Bermuda, but it's still different. It's not a hybrid.
That's a good point.
So our cool season grasses, then we will do a seeding. That's a little bit less, because what we do is we do straight compost on cool season grasses. This was our first year doing cool season grasses, so we learned a lot from that. I started off putting the compost down, putting our seed down, and then putting another layer of compost on top of it. Theoretically, that would be great, right? So you're giving the soil, the seed, a place to germinate in the soil a little bit. Well, we found out that was it was smothering out a little bit. So it was taking too long to germinate. Obviously, when it germinates, it's beautiful, but it still took a little longer than we expected.
A little berry.
So
makes sense.
We would, so now we finished up the season just doing a good layer of compost down, and then seeding it over. Well, obviously aerating compost and then seeding over on top of that.
Okay.
Then we'll come back and rake it in a little bit.
And the 415 does all three, right? It can aerate, compost, throw it down, and then also mix the seed in there with the optional seed box.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. We have a seed box on ours. We didn't use that this season just because of the property size. But I'm excited about the new 410 that we're getting, Earth and Turf 410. That won't have the seed box or the aerator on it, but it will be able to hit those still right on, and we can hit those smaller lawns.
Yeah, yeah. And was that the medium sized unit then potentially?
It is. It holds, I think, a quarter yard.
Okay.
Maybe a 3/4. I apologize. Jay would have to correct me on that.
Yeah, no, but, you're good. I shot the video at Equip with them, and they had like the 3 or 4 different units on the floor. And selfishly, I was talking to Jim. I'm like, dude, get me the 415, the big one. I've got almost 3 acres. I got to, I got to fix 1.5 acres of it, and I got to blend the other 1.5 acres, from the front yard and the backyard. I got some really nice Kentucky blue that I put down, some 30-30-30 mix from Site 1. And it looks awesome where I fixed, but I want to blend it and level it, and do the whole deal. So I'm frantically taking notes as you're talking. I want to get a tractor this spring, so I'll be able to load it in this thing. If I can get a solid weekend and maybe get some salaried labor, if you know what I'm saying, from the guys, and ask them for a day, might be able to fix my whole lawn in a weekend, So I got some pretty ambitious eyes this summer. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just all excited about this conversation.
You should talk to Jonathan over at SmartGate, and you hook him with a trailer to load that into that machine. Well, of course, 15 is truly a beast. It is awesome.
Well, I was going to say, I had Nick Carlson. He's like, dude, if you want the mold, I was telling him, because he did his open house last summer or fall, and he had a couple top dressing guys there that bought the new DMT that goes up on the rams, and it like lifts up 6 feet.
With the scissors, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've seen that one. It's huge, and it's like $120,000. And there's a couple guys that came there that were top dressing guys. And Nick's like, yeah, these guys are doing like $50,000 to $100,000 a month right now, just top dressing. And I'm like, solo? He goes, solo. And both of our jaws were hitting the floor. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so, but Nick's like, dude, if you get a 415 from Jeb and these guys to just demo and whatever and do some social maybe with it, he's like, I'll give you a mulch mate to use on my. He's got the beautiful stainless. What was it, like an F600 or something truck, the staple one that he's driven across the whole country trying to build his company the last 7 years. So I'm not too proud to rent something or to ask for a favor, especially when I'm trying to fix my own stuff. We just don't really see a lot of those products around here. I need to get a big enough company to get a mulch mate myself, and at most we'll have some tractors, but I can't fix my whole lawn with just tractors exclusively. So. But anyway, go ahead. Back to you. I'm sorry.
I like our mulchmate. There's a lot of moving parts in it. We have one of the older ones, but actually I'm taking it back next week. They're going to kind of do some changing for me.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah, so I'm driving up to Maryland next Tuesday. But as far as I tell you, I can't praise Jonathan enough over at SmartGate.
Okay.
He just down to earth, honest guy that really wants to help people. He helped me. The reason why I'm saying that is because he really helped me a lot in the season. We were struggling trying to get our product out. We had tons of work, and we're still trying to get logistics out. And he was kind enough to let us borrow his Ram with the SmartGate on the back, his dump truck.
Is that the conveyor system? I've seen it. I was Googling what you were talking about earlier. That's just a conveyor on the tailgate, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
It lays, I can use it still as a dump truck, but it lays down, and then I have a conveyor out to the side that kind of shoots it into my machine.
Okay.
It was a little short. I actually put my dump truck on ramps, which was a little challenge this past season. But he's working on doing a 12-foot or a longer extension for me.
Okay.
So it'll go into my 415 easily.
That's right. And I think that's why Nick with his DMT has that scissored ram thing where it lifts up to get a 415 underneath it. Best I understand.
That's right. I really like that scissor. The fact that it goes up like that for sure.
Wow.
That's another challenge we're having right now. It's just trying to figure out how to get our trucks up higher so it would go in there. Back to Earth and Turf, you talked about. So they have two ride-ons right now. They have a 415, which is the beast that you're talking about, and they have the 410, which is a smaller one.
Okay.
But both of those are ride-on. Another thing I like is I'm an OCD. I'm a little control freak, but I like to have control over my soil where it goes. So our spreaders do not spread as far as like throw it out, swing it. We have a drop spreaders, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I can control exactly where I drop that soil, how close I can get to the bed or the sidewalk, things of that nature. That's another positive for us. We really like that.
Now, is that like a push spreader you're saying, or an actual like from the 415's conveyor?
The 415. 415. It drops it instead of actually
broadcasting.
Spreading it. Yeah. Broadcasting. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah. I was confused, but I'm like, I think I know what he's saying. But so that's it's exactly why I didn't want to get the powered spreader for some of the aerators, because they're really obviously designed for seeding. And there's a couple other options out there. Actually, I'm just gonna ask you on the record. So the Earth, you're my guy right now. So the Earth and Turf, they have a couple of the tow behind units, and I was on the website, and forgive me on the SKUs. It's I was gonna say the E105, but I think that's the VSI brine sprayer. But anyway, I know they have a couple walk or tow behind units. And it was $2,500, maybe $3,000. I'm like, well, for a DIY, that I can always keep on my property. Maybe I'll go use it on a couple commercial sites one day. Do you think that would be an efficient approach? I feel like the capacity is like a quarter from that 415. So am I best to just figure out how to rent or demo the big one? Am I going to be like doing 3 acres for 2 years with that tow behind? Or what's your professional opinion, if you don't mind me asking?
So with 3 acres, I would love for you to have that 415. I mean, again, it's a beast. It goes 7 miles an hour. I think that was the last quote. I might be wrong on that, but it's pretty fast.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
To do all that and still at the speed, it's really good.
Okay.
Now, that's not to knock the pull behinds. The pull behinds, I mean, that's good for like a homeowner that really just kind of wants to do that themselves and still get an even coat. The biggest thing, and I tell my guys all the time, our challenge is we want it even. I don't want any hot spots. I don't want any thick areas.
Yeah, right.
And I don't want any sparse spots. So I've got to figure out a way to get it even as possible. And that's why I like the machines that can get it evenly, if that makes sense.
100%. And that's my whole front yard has nothing but divots from everybody and their brother driving all over my freaking property for construction equipment. I mean, from the well truck, to the septic guy who's making, horseshoes in my front yard to drain my camper for, a year, to myself, to my guys. Everybody's driven through the freaking front yard. We had the concrete poured for the apron of the off the roadway. And then I still got about 100 linear feet to finish up to the apron of the home. But when that was getting done, everybody diagonaled through my front yard, and I'm like, Jesus, and everybody's got these big ass trucks, So I'm like, I've got endless ruts that when you're mowing, you feel them. And then, you
That's right.
bottom out the deck and it scalps because you hit the wheel marks at a diagonal. So it's all on my to-do list to clean up this summer, on the weekends. It's just, dude, it's like we have our own lawn. I want it looking nice. I want to look like, Jeremy Connect. He's always got those beautiful freaking reels on Instagram that go viral and, point at his home. And, I just want a beautiful front looking yard. So this is on like my to-do list this year. This isn't like a wish or a want. This is a need. So I'm all in. I'm super grateful to have you on the show, and I'm learning as much as I can. I'm going to order 20 yards of, compost at a time. I'm going to go get, $1,000 worth of seed at my local supplier, and I'm gonna do the best I can to renovate my front yard, man, and try to make Alan Hain blush. It's gonna be awesome. So
there you go. I know exactly what you mean by the ruts. We put a pool in our backyard, and so it took me forever to get those ruts out.
Yeah.
But it's a process. I will say, especially those ruts, because as the compost decomposes,
right.
You want to keep filling that in,
sure,
and so forth. Some people they roll it out. But then you're compacting the soil. So, someone could educate me better on rolling it out, but I generally don't like to roll it. I like to keep fixing the problems, so to speak.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I bought a little lawn roller online on Amazon for like $300. And it's working really, really well. I mean, I have no problem with it. I'm thinking specifically in my backyard, this one spot where they were doing the footers and the walls, and a cement truck, went all the way around the property. Now, it was all dirt at the time, but he went down and around the backside of my house, which would have been all dirt. And just long story short, the dude backed up and then went down like a little bit of a graded hill, and he sunk in. And he did get out. I wasn't here for it, but man, I saw the divots, and I'm telling you, like 8 to 10 inch, 2 dually tire ruts, like just a giant freaking mess. And I'm like, dude, just to get like bags of topsoil or compost on my quad to zip them all open, I need 20 bags there. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm just going to wait till I get a tractor this spring and then go clean it up in like 2 minutes. So like, it's so weird. Like I low-key, I feel like I'm an enthusiast on this whole conversation. And I don't know why I'm so like weirdly attracted to all this conversation, but when you guys start throwing the numbers around that you guys are posting up, I'm impressed. How long does it take you? We'll probably land the plane here, because I actually got to get running here to 2:00. But and again, super grateful and thankful for the time that you're sharing with all of us on the show. Let me just ask you, like, maybe wrapping up, what's the best way that you've found to get customers for this kind of work, and then what's like the average time it takes you to complete a job? Like, what's your workflow? Like, are you doing 4 of these a day, or 10 of them a day, or 1 a day? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. So that's pretty relative as well. We started out doing 1 or 2 a day. So at the end of the season, we were doing we could do 4, sometimes 5 a day. If they're 2,000 or 3,000 square feet, we have a minimum of $450. So we kind of stick to that. But yeah, we can pretty much knock out 4 or 5 a day if we're rolling. And logistics makes a big deal, or kind of planning our location. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Sure.
I learned that from you at the very beginning, watching a lot of your shows.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah. But, so that's another challenge at the beginning of the season, because we have such a short window to do everything, to tree all the lawns. And so everybody wants it at one time, right? So trying to figure out the logistics of getting everybody scheduled within the zip code and so forth. That's a challenge sometimes.
Are you guys like a spring lawn renovation for what you're offering? And I guess it depends probably on the turf type as well. And then just like aeration season, right? Like we do them usually after barricade goes down or your pre-emergent. We'll do that sometime early May through maybe early June. And then usually the second season is pretty much anytime September, maybe 1st or 2nd week forward through even Halloween. I've seen them as late as Halloween. We'll do a second round. So when is the exact season for you guys?
Yeah, so our warm season grasses usually start at the end of April, first or second week in May. Is when I usually ask people to scout their yard, and then as soon as it starts greening that green haze over there, then we're ready to roll.
Gotcha.
So it's usually here about the first or second week in May. We'll go to the end of August, sometimes a little bit in September. And then our cool season will start at the end of September through October.
Okay.
Sometimes I think this season we're going to start in March, just for our cool season grasses, and just do a thin layer of compost over those and not overseed them. Just kind of give them some nutrients ready for the summer.
Well, I like that. And then you can not only that, just get some extra revenue posted up on the board for keeping that equipment and just utilizing that asset for a longer period of time, for the season. So that makes a ton of sense. That's so good. I so appreciate all the time. I'll probably personally land the plane here. I think that's what I got for my pecking list of questions. I'm telling you, I'm taking notes. I'm writing all these numbers down, these formulas down. This is really, really good. If anybody's got questions, comments, shoot me an email. We can always see if we can get Chris back on if there's anything else that we're missing. But this is really, really good stuff. I can't thank you enough for spending time to pour into all of us and maybe just open some eyes and ears to the idea of adding some different services. And maybe you got 2 mowing crews that go out, and you've got a tractor, that's sitting around, and you're like, for couple bucks, you can go finance an earth and turf or find a machine similarly and offer this service. I think it's really going to make headway in the market because people want results, and I don't think exclusively just nuking something out with endless rounds of nitrogen, for fertilizer or just overseeding indefinitely is going to be the answer. Like eventually, just like a dethatching, every 5 or so years, you got to dethatch the property for the most part and get that mess out of there. This is something that you could also add as well, and at a premium for sure. I mean, this isn't $40 per 1,000. This is hundreds of dollars per 1,000 that you can charge, being a select one-off kind of service, higher ticket service. So that's awesome. Well, anything else you want to?
Brian.
Yeah, go ahead. Anything else you want to add?
Want to say,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just on the dethatching. Here, especially like on the one season grasses, if we're cutting it short, there may be a little bit of thatch in our azorias, but when we put that compost on there, those microbes are starting to eat that thatch, and it really just turns it into good soil.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Heck yeah. That's awesome. Well, where are you on social? Where can people? I always like to. I'm a little rusty here. We took a couple weeks off, but yeah, where are you guys located?
So we're on Facebook a lot. We get a lot of our business from Facebook or word of mouth.
Okay.
And so we have a website. It's todayandtomorrowturf.com. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of social media, but Facebook really kind of keeps us busy.
Man, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on out. Shout out to all the different partners that you were sharing about earlier as well. I'm sure you guys can go down those rabbit holes and watch YouTube videos and all their websites. But for real, if you guys would like to see more of this stuff, let me know. I'm selfishly like, hey, Jeb, if you're listening, send me a 415. I will make a bunch of videos. I'll help that thing go mega viral. Let's sell 10 more units. I'll pay for a rental. I'll pay for a demo. I don't care. If I can get a machine here for $500 for the weekend or something and just go to town, I literally will. I just don't know where to get one locally. I asked him at a Quip Expo, and he's like, "No, dude, we're not in Michigan yet." I'm like, "Well, bring one over from Pennsylvania." And I was giving him a bunch of tough love, But all right, well, hey, that's where we'll land the plane on today's podcast. Chris, thanks so much for taking time to join us. Super appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, Brian.
Yeah, awesome, man. You betcha, of course. All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll land the plane here. Appreciate all of you guys listening in. Told you this would be a fun show, and this is everything you wanted to know about top dressing and more. Thanks to our friend Chris here joining us all the way from Carolina. So that's where we're going to leave it today, guys. Appreciate you listening in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them on a DM on Instagram. Follow me at Brian's Law Maintenance. Shoot me an email. Again, don't forget to check out the video portion of everything that we're doing on YouTube at Brian's Law Maintenance, and come subscribe. Help us bump those numbers up. I want to get to 1 million subscribers get the gold play button. Have a little community win for us having a contractor channel. Hit the big gold play button. I think that'd be pretty cool in 2025, 2026. So appreciate your support there. All right, guys, over and out. Well, have a beautiful day and look forward to catching up with all of you guys here on the next episode.
Is your lawn care business ready to grow faster than your best kept lawn? Then you'll want to join Link, the ultimate community built exclusively for lawn care pros like you. With Link, you'll gain insider access to expert advice, live monthly coaching calls, and a private Facebook group active with successful launchpreneurs. This isn't just another group, it's a movement of pros committed to winning together. Act now and grab our special early bird pricing. Head to launchpreneuracademy.com or click the link provided in the podcast description.
Link is only $29 a month through January. Starting February 1st, it'll be $49 a month for new signups. If you sign up prior to February 1st, your rate will be locked in at $29 per month, and there's no price increase for current Link members.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.